believe Donald Trump was really elected. Yeah, it was inflation. That was an issue. The economy, that was an issue. The border, that was an issue. But woke culture, cancel culture, oh, hell yes, that played a role. Where you got people walking around.
Some people are saying that this right here is a Stephen A. Smith redemption arc. I'm not going to go there just yet. However, the man has, since the election and even since really the previous few months before the election, at least since Butler, Pennsylvania, it does seem to me like he is starting to come back down to earth as far as political takes are concerned. The video isn't really just about Stephen A. Smith. It's really about, well, let's just say another example of the left and the Democratic Party's war on fun.
Scott Jennings.
Well, I said on this network at the Republican National Convention that the Republican Party was now the fun party. And lo and behold, I was right. And apparently many pro athletes agree, from the Raiders' Brock Bowers to the Lions' Adarius Smith to the Titans' Calvin Ridley to UFC fighter John Jones to soccer's Christian Pulisic just moments ago. Athletes are doing the Trump dance to celebrate their scores and wins. And why shouldn't they? Trump is back. America is back. And once again,
oh, we don't need to stand
it's cool to be a Republican.
No,
Chuck, Julie,
we need to stand
Chuck,
up.
Julie, I invite you to get in on it.
It is true.
We're back, baby. We're back, baby.
It is true that you guys have sex parties that we cannot compete with. You definitely are the much
I
more
can hear the
fun
jealousy
party.
in your voice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so guys, I led there with Scott Jennings, which actually I led really with Stephen A. Smith, some of what he said. But of course, I come back to Scott Jennings because, yes, this race has been going on for roughly a week or two. And I think that the catalyst was John Jones doing the Trump dance after his victory at UFC 309 over Stipe Miocic, a fight that I went to go see, and a fight that I honestly thought that, well, I'll put it this way here. I had two different predictions for outcomes. I had either John winning it in a decision or Stipe winning by knockout third round, but yet John beat Stipe in a third round knockout. So, yeah, obviously it looked not very bright, but still at the same time, I was also amazed how it was that myself and many others who thought that Stipe was actually bigger than John, we would actually be proven to be wrong, because it just felt like a while that we had seen Stipe, because he'd been out for 2 or 3 years. I don't want to go too far into that, but I'm pretty sure you guys can kind of tell by my voice that, yeah, I kind of got a fight prediction or a fight feeling wrong. But then again, at the same time, this is not a channel dedicated to the UFC and fights, and sports is a lot less talked about here. But of course, like I said, in tomorrow's video, we'll be talking more about that in the preview of what's to come in 2025. But let's talk about this issue involving the Democratic Party's war on fun and how it is that these people are now suddenly equating the Trump dance to Kaepernick kneeling. This is really not the same thing. The whole situation started right before the election with Nick Bosa during Sunday Night Football after the Niners won their game. I think it was the week right before the election. He came out during the how do I say this? That he come out during the post-game interviews where Brock Purdy, the quarterback, was doing an interview with Sunday Night Football. And, of course, he came out there and flashed the Make America Great Again hat. Of course, Bosa would have to do press conferences and basically get questioned by the San Francisco media of why it is that you chose to wear that hat. That right there, of course, being the city of San Francisco, being a very, very liberal, woke city. They don't exactly like the idea of their players having any form of political disagreements, even though Nick Bosa is probably the best player they have on defense. And they had to issue a statement, that there being the NFL, on the Trump dance of all things. If you're not ideologically pure to these people do not like you. They've shown themselves to be who the hell they are. But still, though, if you go back to the video that I posted at 1 o'clock and the video that I posted at 4 o'clock, and you see what's going on with the Few and MSDNC, these people are going to have to make some changes here soon, because it's not so much the fact that these people are liberal. Trust me, you're going to be around people who disagree with you, who are still friendly and still you can get along with, and you can still laugh and have fun with, especially this holiday season, because of course there are people out there who are telling you to avoid your family this Christmas if they voted for Donald Trump. Of course, I look at these people and think that they're absolute loons. I mean, I won't eat with you if you voted for Donald Trump. I mean, think about that real quick. These people are that far gone, or they're just that far gone as in they're just being pissy right now, but still,
Yeah, not exactly a good enough reason to tell your family to F off this Christmas.
Mean, spiteful, hateful, all the words that I used in the previous years. That's the reason why is people's cutting it off, is because it's not so much that they agree with what they're saying, it's the fact that these people are in fact hateful, which of course is going to eventually drive more and more people away from them. They just don't see it yet. Getting back to what I was saying, this whole tiff, or whatever you might want to call it, about the Trump dance, this is just dumb, as you guys will see.
People are losing their minds over players doing the Trump dance on the field. It's fine. But they did lose their minds when NFL players like Colin Kaepernick did not take a political stance, but took a social justice stance. There's a distinction between those two things. It is interesting that there's been this big turnaround, it seems.
Yeah, it is. You know, you look at all the times that any player was kneeling or anything, you know, they all had this kind of conviction within themselves that this is what I believe, this is what I'm going to do. They articulated it very well to the media.
And what I mean by Kaepernick kneeling is that these people are upset because Republicans, conservatives said basically shut up and dribble once these very, very liberal athletes decided to get involved in politics. Well, the thing is this right here. There's a difference between kneeling and disrespecting our troops and basically disrespecting your audience. There's a difference between doing that and then a celebratory dance. It's not the same.
There was no actual conviction with Kaepernick. Kaepernick, and I've said this right before, and I'm going to try to be as quick and concise as I can be about explaining Kaepernick to you guys from a sports side. Kaepernick got the starting job in 2012 for the Niners when Alex Smith got hurt. I'm not a Niners fan, but I am a football fan. So bear with me here. Alex Smith's hand injury, he was basically out for the entire year. So the 49ers inserted Colin Kaepernick in, who was the backup quarterback. Colin Kaepernick was basically a read option quarterback, and read option quarterbacks, especially if they're very good at being read option quarterbacks, scramblers primarily, he had a hard time hitting a good old-fashioned slant pass. They tend to cause a defense to be puzzled. And from about week 7, week 8, all the way to the end of the year, the Niners offense picked up. By the way, the Niners that year had a phenomenal defense. They had a phenomenal defense the next year. I know this. I'm a Packers fan. We lost to them twice. Trust me, I know. So Kaepernick took advantage of that there. And then the following year, the league was still trying to catch up to him. In 2014, the league had caught up to him, and not to mention the fact there was also problems in the front office between Harbaugh and, of course, the Niners ownership group. And then come 2015, like 2014, Colin Kaepernick's stats had fully dropped. They had signed him to a contract, and they were beginning to get cold feet on continuing to keep him. As a matter of fact, they were looking to trade Colin Kaepernick because he'd already been figured out by the league. What Colin Kaepernick did was just a good old-fashioned stunt to keep his name relevant to a certain degree. And at the end of the day, the only thing he got for it was $10 million in a lawsuit where he sued his boss, and, of course, all the other controversies that went on beyond that. Colin Kaepernick was never really and truly a serious person. I figure I'd point that out before we go further. Okay, so look, there's a lot that was said in that little bit that I could deconstruct, and of course I will be deconstructing, but of course there's 3 parts to this I'm going to play. That was obviously part number 1. Somehow or the Abby Phillips, she's been given like her own like segment going forward. Apparently she's like one of the few people that CNN can make. And there's also something else too, that apparently Caitlin Collins is going to be given the White House correspondence position for CNN. Some people are already protesting, saying that Caitlin Collins should, that the CNN's press pass should already be revoked. However, I look at it a little bit differently. I think that if Caitlin Collins is there, you're probably going to get this right here every day of the Trump second administration.
And, you saw the video where a lot of the media, the conservative media and conservatives were really pushing against these NFL players to get them to stop talking about politics. But then, you know, you fast forward to today and people are having a little fun with the Trump dance. Now, the Trump dance is, it's weird, it's new-ish, and it's ridiculous, so which also makes it trendy.
Right, yeah,
catchy.
it's like a TikTok dance.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Right. And so I don't think that's gonna be something that players are gonna be doing into next year. It's just kind of something new that players are doing, and they all, when you make a play, you celebrate, you want to do something that's fun and trendy, and they're doing the Donald Trump dance.
This Trump dance, which I agree with you, is kind of a fun, trendy thing that's going on with the overt political statements that some players were attempting to make. But then also, these whole sort of cultural movements that were built around some of these players to try to force everyone else to participate in it. I see these things as totally different. I don't see these players necessarily participating in politics as much as they are just sort of participating in the current pop culture. I think they're two totally different things. And these players are not out there trying to browbeat their teammates into joining them if they don't want to.
She's going to get absolutely bodied by Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Trust me, it's going to be hilarious to watch this person get absolutely destroyed on a daily basis. But let's get back to the topic. People who are saying that this right here is the equivalent of, or it should be the equivalent of somebody saying shut up and dribble, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. First of all, the Kaepernick protest, that right there was outright disrespectful. Now, Kaepernick himself would come out and he would claim that they were not protesting the troops or anything like that. But yet, weeks after the initial protest, they would be down in Miami, Florida, and this guy would be wearing pro-Castro shirts and socks depicting cops as pigs. Whatever their protest may have originally meant to be, it obviously devolved very, very quickly. And a lot of us, myself included, kind of already knew that this was going to turn into a problem. They had also protested in 2014, the whole hands up, don't shoot thing. By this point in time, going into 2016, people were sick and tired of it. The truth be told is this here. This country, in this nation, you have basically the freedom of speech, okay? You have the freedom pretty much to do whatever the hell you want. You should be thankful for that. And as I had said in my videos about the flag kneelers, the truth is this here. You have the right to do that. I don't agree with you doing that, but at the same time, it's about respect. You see, when you go to a sporting event, they don't tell you to rise. They ask if you will honor America. They ask you to. There's a difference between asking somebody to do so and telling. If you were in North Korea or a communist nation, yeah, they would be ordering you to do so. I think that the person who had the best take on this was Mike Huckabee when he went on Fox News, when he was asked about this, and he said they should thank God every day that they live in the United States of America, a place where they're actually allowed to do this. It's because of that there that you should have some level of respect, but once again, though, self-accountability is not a virtue these people have. And Nick Bosa just simply doing the Trump dance, or other people just doing the catchy little Trump dance, yeah, that's not a protest. It's not the same exact thing. But once again, we've got an idiot who's going to try to conflate the two. Doing the Trump dance because it is, in fact, fun and trendy. It's not the same thing as kneeling during the flag. Scott Jennings decided to counter this by saying something that I thought was commonsensical, very, very commonsensical, because it's the real truth of the situation. It kind of goes back to the very, very beginning. Republicans seem to be now the party of fun. Now, some people may walk away from this video and say that the guy that was protesting, or the guy who was talking earlier, he wasn't really saying anything that was out of line. But the point is this right here. You do have people out there who are, in fact, protesting this. I mean, dude, they'll come out soon in the near future, and they'll say that this right here is white supremacy. What was it, the hand gesture thing? What was it, the hand gesture thing like that there? They were calling that there white power. It's just stupid, Looney Tunes, garbage crap. Oh, no, it's not the same. All right, so just chill the hell out. But then again, at the same time, these people don't believe in chilling. And that right there is where we enter Stephen A. Smith, who gave roughly a 3-minute and 20-second monologue on the situation. Now, of course, I'm going to react to it, but pay very close attention to not only what he says, but look at his facial expressions, his body language as he says it.
In case you haven't seen Donald Trump's signature move, even though he's the one doing it right there, right now. At UFC 309 at Madison Square Garden this past weekend, one of, if not the greatest MMA fighter in history, John Bones Jones, did it after defeating Stipe Miocic in the third round there with Trump sitting ringside.
Okay, well, I'll say real quick. I understand it was only about 21 seconds, but I need to throw this in here as a bit of a nitpick. There is one thing that I will get correct about John Jones. I don't think John Jones did that because he's a Trump voter. Okay, I don't believe he did it for that right there. As a matter of fact, if you go look at his Twitter feed, he's attacked several pro-Trump fighters, called them terrible human beings, all that type of stuff there. So I don't think he's a Trump voter or a Trump supporter. There is this video of him during the 2020 riots, however, out with law enforcement, armed to try to put a stop to the riots and crap. But of course, if you know John Bones' past, you know all about his past transgressions, and you know that more than likely they will pop back up again in the future. Now, I'm not saying he is a Trump supporter or non-Trump supporter. What I'm saying is he more than likely did not vote for him. His past behavior would suggest the opposite. And him doing the Trump dance, I think really was him just kind of like seeing where the crowd was. Because the crowd, actually, if you watched UFC 309, They were all over Trump the minute he came in to the arena. They were cheering, all that right there. The camera was on Donald Trump during the fight. I'm just simply saying that John Bones Jones knows the audience that he's in front of. But let's continue.
Let me tell you something. Here's why I'm pissed off. That the NFL had to even issue a statement about it. Because celebrations usually don't warrant that. It doesn't require a response from the league. So why was it necessary this time? You know why? Because we got a bunch of people still living with their heads in the cloud, acting like they get to protest every little damn thing. This is America. Donald Trump won the election, rather convincingly, I might add. Now, I didn't vote for him, and I've been on the record stating that. I'm not backing up from that. I didn't vote for him because I don't think he's presidential. I don't think his behavior, rather, is
the NFL issued out a statement, basically, look, I'm not going to go too much to the NFL. I kind of said something earlier in a couple of clips that I edited back in just to kind of just reassert the certain points of the video where it needed to go at. But still, the point is this right here. The NFL has gotten to the point to where it's not even fun to watch. This is really and truly this year, last year, and 2022. They've been the 3 years that I've cared the least amount about the NFL. I really could give a crap about them. And they're just making matters worse with issuing out statements on something as simple as the Trump dance. I mean, it's kind of pathetic that the left has gotten that much of the institutions. But let's continue.
I think the presidency is a statesmanship position. I think it's important to galvanize folks and to bring them together as opposed to contributing to divisiveness. But he won. And I have no problem accepting the fact that he won fair and square in romp-like fashion, I might add. And he's worthy of being the president of the United States according to the voters. They have spoken. They spoke emphatically, not just in red states, but in blue states as well, in battleground states as well. He won. There's no debate. There's no controversy. There's no anything. He won convincing.
The stuff about being presidential, non-presidential, that, brother, is a different conversation for another day. I'm not going to focus on Stephen A. Smith's disagreements, but I do think that what he's about to say here, or what he just got through saying, is pretty well justified, especially in the minds of people who just are kind of tired of the entire situation, tired of the politics, tired of the nonsense. They want to decompress. I mean, everybody's views are down, obviously, political streamers and political content, obviously for a reason, because people are, in fact, tired of the nonsense. Let's hop back on track.
So to me, that says that the American people have made their choice. I got news for you. Football players are usually American people. So are basketball players. So are UFC fighters. They got a right to support who the hell they want without the league needing to send in a response. I didn't see a response from the UFC. You know why? Because Dana White wouldn't entertain it. Dana White would not entertain that because he don't play that nonsense. He's going to support who he's going to support. He's not going to apologize for it, as most American citizens should feel free to do. And why am I ticked off? Because it was emblematic of the climate that we've been living in for years.
Yep. And of course, there are personalities on the left who are trying to tell us that he did not win convincingly. But we'll probably talk about that a little bit later on in the week, because that clip right there and the next clip are going to come up in that video. Because like I said, there are progressives out there who think that in the United States, if you lose by only 3 million votes, that the person who won doesn't have a mandate. I'll explain more so in that video there, but let's get back on this. Let's get back on track here.
Which is why I believe Donald Trump was really elected. Yeah, it was inflation. That was an issue. The economy, that was an issue. The border, that was an issue. But woke culture, cancel culture, oh, hell yes, that played a role. Where you got people walking around wondering whether or not they're echoing the right pronoun, wondering whether or not that was going to cost them their job, or being PC because, God forbid, your opinion is different than the average folk walking around in America. Lord knows what would happen to you. That's what America regressed to. And because of that, I believe, is a big reason why Donald Trump on January 20th will be inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States of America.
Climate that we've been living in for years now. I've said that I felt that the wokeness, the cancel culture crap, that played a role in Trump going from 74.2 million votes to what appears to be, by the end of the tally, close to 78 million. It's what led to him going from 62.9 million votes to 74.2 million votes in the first place. People who don't get politically involved got tired of the bullcrap they were seeing every day on television. They got tired of what they were seeing in their lives as far as the online media was concerned. They got sick and tired of it. They got sick and tired of the left. So this petty stuff about going after the Trump dance and trying to compare it to the time the Republicans told flag kneelers who were actually kneeling and protesting and disrespecting our troops and law enforcement, it's not the same thing. It's just guys scoring a touchdown, having a little bit of fun, not kneeling before the game. I'm glad to see Stephen A. Smith could, point out the fact that this whole nonsense is stupid. But hey, like I said, many people think this way as a redemption arc. I mean, apparently he did go on Bill Maher's podcast the other day, Club Random, and tell him to his face that Kamala Harris sucked. But of course, that right there may be a conversation for another day. Make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say, and I'll see you guys later.